Let's let's get it. What's good with y'all, man? This is the Chop Up Show. I am Damo, the political plug. I'm here with one of my favorite people in the world, Toya G, and we back on another Thursday. Hopefully, y'all got to check out the new intro, season 4. We coming and doing it big. We got the new logo, new intro, other new things that will be on the way. What's good with you, Toya?
Hey, I'm doing well. You know, little birdie on the street told me we might have a little guest pop in and hang out with us. We're gonna see. I don't want to make no promises and no commitments. We might have somebody else slide in. In the meanwhile, I'm glad to be with you. I'm glad to be locked in. J Universe in the comments throwing out some fire emojis. So we definitely love that love. If you in here, go ahead and do what you know to do. First of all, speak. Don't be disrespectful. Don't come into the Chop Nation Chop Up Show without saying nothing. Shout us out. Let us know where you tapping in from. And then go ahead and push share real quick. Go ahead, hit that like, hit that love. Do all the stuff you need to do to kind of blow this up because we're about to have a great conversation tonight, as usual.
Speaking of the great conversation we about to have, let's go ahead and get right into it. Now, this is Black History Month. This is February, so we're making sure we're doing it right. And each episode, each week is Black History Month. We want to make sure we shouting out Black History icons, Black icons, up until our Black History Month awards that will be happening at the end of this month. So y'all make sure y'all tap in for that. But to get it started, the Black History Month shout out I want to start out with today is it's more modern history, current history, and that is shouting out the great, the fantastic, the wonderful Ketanji Brown Jackson, the first Black woman to serve as a Supreme Court justice. And the reason why I want to shout her out is because as much as we have conversations about history, we always go back into the past. Right, we always go all the way back to Martin Luther King. We go back to Thurgood Marshall,
which is not
right?
bad. It's necessary. We're not trying to exclude these names from the conversation,
right? Right, but we gotta understand that history is being made every day, and Black people are doing phenomenal things every day. And Ketanji Brown Jackson is an example of a modern history that we need to make sure that we recognize. Harvard grad, right? Yeah. Harvard Law Review. You feel me? Come from a family that's really split. Like a part of her family was like in law enforcement. Another part of her, one of her uncles got locked up, like Big Tom. You know what I'm saying, for a victimless nonviolent crime related to drugs, which actually kind of inspired her to get into law in the way that she does. And she actually, once she got on as a lawyer, she had a case pick up her people's case pro bono and actually got his sentence commuted. So shout out to Ketanji Brown Jackson, an example of current history, modern history being made, modern Black history. So y'all shout out, so y'all make sure y'all show that love to her continually, because she got an uphill battle with it being a conservative Supreme Court and everything else going on right now. So shout out to Ketanji Brown Jackson. We got some. We gotta guess, y'all. We gotta guess.
Man, we live from Lexington, Kentucky in the bathroom, man.
We love it, man.
Look, in the whole bathroom. That's a nice shower too, bro.
Back in the building. Talk to your people, man. Talk to your family.
Hey, I really shout out to everybody in Chop Nation. I appreciate y'all for the support and the engagement. The whole team really support y'all for, you know what I'm saying? Really thank y'all for supporting the engagement. We got a lot of things coming our way, you know, and I'm just happy to be a part of the conversation.
Yeah, real quick. I mean, because you're gonna be chiming in and tapping in with us for tonight. But you got a lot of big things happening, but we need to push you a little bit more. It's a particular competition you in, you neck and neck, you got some big competition. Before we get into the conversation, Lee, I need you to tell the people where they can go vote for you in regards to these NAACP Image Awards. Talk to them about what they need to do and talk to them about the category that you in.
Yeah, so you know, education is elevation. I got the honor of being nominated for NAACP Image Awards, specifically for outstanding social media personality. I'm nominated with a lot of amazing content creators. Shout out to, you know what I'm saying, the other nominees. But I need y'all help, man. In order for me to win this award, I need y'all to go to any link in my bio, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. You'll be able to literally go to the first link and you'll be able to vote. All I ask is that you confirm your vote when you put your email in.
That part, and then don't forget Don't just do it once. If you do it once, set you a little alarm. I don't know if you want to take it when you take your vitamins or maybe during lunchtime. You want to just do it kind of on schedule, but every 24 hours.
Tomorrow, the last day.
My God. So take it, strike while the
Tomorrow, the last day. Right, do one right now and do one tomorrow.
Listen, go vote for consciously over there. I want to look in these comments. Shout out to Nyambi. Shout out to D. Dina in the building. What's up, Hood Therapy? What's going on, VO? What's good? It's always good to have you in here. Kimya, it's always good to have you back. It's a lot of love to y'all. Thank y'all for tapping in, tuning in. Hit that like, hit that love, hit that share before we get deep into the conversation. But it's great. It's always great to have y'all on.
So look. You know what I'm saying? I'm running the show. And so, hey, we got consciously in the building. And this is gonna be an impromptu vibe check because he's here, right? Mm-hmm. And consciously recently, for those who don't know, traveled to the White House.
Yeah.
Traveled to the White House. And he was invited for the most recent State of the Union address. I think it was like Joe Biden's second or third State of the Union address. Hey, shout out to SOTU.
SOTU was also appropriate. Definitely. That's my homie. Yeah. Shout out to SOTU.
Oh, shout out to Dina. Okay, Dina SOTU. Yeah. Shout out to you. So Lee went to the White House. He was invited. The White House is clearly recognizing the work that he putting in terms of like changing people's minds. And so he was invited to be a part of a celebration for the State of the Union speech.
Yeah.
He posted it. But it was some shit. Excuse me, my fault. It's 2 minutes in. It's 2 minutes in. But it was some stuff, yo. They was literally starting drama. So and the drama was situated around Lee actually associating himself with Joe Biden, liberal politicians, and all of those types of things. So real quick, Lee, I want to ask you, like, what has been the reaction to people seeing you at the White House?
Man, it's been two polarizing reactions. Mm-hmm. Either this is good and this is amazing, congratulations to you, I'm happy and proud for you, or this just proves he's a sellout and that he's a propaganda machine and that he's willing to parrot anything that Democrats say about anything, and this just shows X, Y, and Z. So it's been a very peculiar position to be in.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure.
So with that, because like Toya, you've had individuals that have you had individuals that you follow on social media and they associated themselves with somebody that made you go,
What do you mean by that? Yes, absolutely.
You have?
Absolutely.
Can you give us an example?
I mean, I think everybody has some type of example during the pandemic. You know what I'm saying? Like during a lot of like the George Floyd, like niggas was popping out the woodworks on a lot of different sides of issues, and we found ourselves taken aback by the stances people were taking, the positions, the statements, all of those things. So I think we can all come up with some type of kind of example of just being surprised that people was either more down and with the shits than we thought they were, or not at all, and very rigid, very disconnected, very just like unaware of what's happening around them. So 1,000 examples, you pick one. But
Ice Cube, the first example to come to mind for me, Ice Cube, like you feel.
I mean, that's a great example.
Yeah, but for me, it's like there's multiple distinctions between me and Ice Cube. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And for me, it's like, hey man, come with a criticism, come with a good criticism. You feel me? Like, listen, nobody's immune to criticism, especially consciously. But for me, it's like if you don't like me, just say you don't like me. Don't make up no reason to try to rationalize with the dislike. It's a lot of folks I don't like them. I don't have a reason to not like them in terms of being able to articulate it. But I don't need to rationalize why I don't like you. I don't rock with you. I don't fuck with you. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you feel like in terms of like the criticism that you're receiving, you think like the people that rock with you gonna continue to rock with you because they feel what you do, and then the people that don't rock with you, this is just another excuse for them to try to create some justification for why they don't rock with you in the first place.
That part.
Yeah, man. Cause listen, I don't know no niggas that get invited to the White House. You in the White House. Not only did you make 6, 7, 8 tweets about the actual position that Joe Biden took, but literally made a video inside the White House, literally on the West Wing, about how I felt that he had a disservice talking about police brutality in the presence of Tyree Nichols' family. As a matter of fact, I had the honor of meeting Tyree Nichols' dad before he even went to the State of the Union. So for me, I'm seeing like a whole bunch of snapshot narratives of consciously based off of a literally one tweet.
Yeah.
Right. So just to be clear, go ahead, Toya.
No, I was just gonna say I think it's unfortunate because I mean all it takes is a little bit of critical thinking. At the very least, we sit on these platforms and outwardly criticize these places, these spaces, these people in these positions. So to like shun the opportunity to go and actually be in them and see how they work and just kind of understand and observe, you don't have to prove that you about your shit by being militantly aggressive about every gesture you make. Sometimes you need to be in and see the inner workings and understand the fodder, the processes, the systems, how they kind of work intricately. And then you take those observations like you did, you go back and reflect on them, you think about, you sit on them, and you resituate how you want to continue to infiltrate those spaces and places and be critical of them. But I think you need to be there to witness, to see, to observe, to be in order to truly have a robust criticism that means something and go somewhere. So I just don't understand the criticism of you just simply being there. You didn't speak on behalf of anybody. You didn't advocate for anything. Your presence was important and essential to have the full, robust kind of perspective of what we should be getting from something like the State of the Union, something that the presidents are obliged to give us. We need to consciously filter to understand kind of what we see and
It
what we
was
hear now.
2 black content creators there out of like 30. 2, me and a black woman. You feel me? And I took the opportunity to be able to speak truth to power while in the space of truth and power. Or I would say power. I don't know about truth. But to me, I felt like shit, I was unwavering. I showed up, dashiki'd up, joined up, and really was unwavering in my analysis about white supremacy and anti-blackness. Shit, I don't give a damn if Joe Biden, I took a picture with Joe Biden smiling. Hey, listen, what you said about police brutality, I thought it was parasitic to blackness and black people. And I think that you furthered white supremacy and how you was wishy-washy. Hey, listen, I met Dr. Biden, his wife, First Lady, and I met him. And after I met them before I said what I said. And after I met them, I ain't changed what I said. As a matter of fact, I doubled down on what I said. So for me, it's like, listen, man, if you believe a space and place dictates how consciously move, I don't think you know what consciously is.
Yeah.
You weren't gonna be a fan, you'll stick around anyway, so you good.
Anyway, I think a large part of it was performative. A large part of the criticism against Lee being associated or around Joe Biden is performative, because if we being honest, like just words like Democrat, words like Biden, words like Trump, words like Republican trigger people anyway. So like if you can be triggered by, like, so for example, if George was saying like this Democratic policy is good, whatever. Oh, you for the Democrats, you for this, you for it. These people are already triggered, right? And so it's like I think they missed the point that when you somebody building a platform, you want to be able to get your have your platform reach to places that you typically don't have that reach to. You know what I'm saying? And showing up there is an example of, it's more an example of how your influence is touching people, as opposed to whether or not you willing to be a Democratic shield and just push out Democratic talking points. And to be clear, you're not. They didn't co-opt you. You still.
Hell no! Listen, fam, it's very important to all the folks watching right now. The day before I went to the White House, my dad, George Lee Sr., called me from jail because he got a blue warrant out for his arrest and he violated his parole. So if you think that me going to the White House is going to divorce myself from my dad being incarcerated and my mom looking at incarceration, you smoking dope and dog food. You have dope and dog food. If you believe I'm going to divorce myself from my community that give me all the passion, all the grit and the grind to be like, oh, I got acknowledged by these white people. Fuck my family and my community, and I made it. Hell no. The reason why I am the nigga I am is because of the people around me experiencing what they're experiencing. I'm about to go, I'm looking at 4 years. My mama looking at 4 years in jail. You think that I'm going to just ignore that or be like, well, like, nah, I'm still situated in where I'm at. And not only that, I moved back to Texas.
Yeah.
So I'm only surrounded by people that's still in the mud, that's still eating sleep for dinner. I'm only surrounded by, so I feel like it's almost like it's to me it's facetious, but I also I would recognize there's been a lot of sellouts before me. I recognize there's been a lot of people that switched up their message after they got a certain accolade. Judge me off of how I respond moving forward. Don't create no bullshit ass snapshot of what I'm doing and try to run with like, nah, don't do me like that. You know what I'm saying? And again, I'm not immune from criticism. I don't think that at all. Have a good criticism though.
Yeah, have a good one.
Yeah, have it legit, man. Have it legit. So shout out to Lee for even being invited. But let's go ahead and get into the topic for the night. We're talking about Black History Month and how it's celebrated.
Yeah.
How it's celebrated. I think we kind of sleep
especially
on,
in 2023. In general,
in 2023 specifically.
A lot of interesting things going on here.
Real quick, shout out Lee We got the professional shit talking. You know what I'm saying? We got the merch. Lee got the education's elevation on.
I taught in my research over research hoodie yesterday, and taught in my education's elevation gear last week. So
Yo.
because I'm this semester I really am not pressed. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we'll get into the button down, we'll get into the polo. But really, I've been like, where's a good hoodie? Let's throw it on and go. And if it ain't an HD hoodie, it's some consciously material, man. And the kids is peeping it. So y'all need to go get some of that. I know y'all
definitely, man. Hey, the consciously.com where you get all your merch at. Hey, and too, if y'all don't know, Chop Up got some amazing merch on the way too. Behind the scenes, we've been calculating, goddamn, and putting together. Just know when it hit, it might sell out as soon as it hits. So y'all want to already be the first in line.
Be prepared.
Season 4, we switching up. We're doing a lot of new things, y'all. So stay. You got 3 options: get on board, get out the way, or get ran over. You feel me? I mean, it's really only you. This train is moving. You feel me? You got 3 options: get on board, get out the way, or you can get ran over. It's really up to you. But make sure you stay tapped into what we got going on. This is the Conscious Collective.
The choice is yours.
Yeah.
No, this is Black History Month celebration. What was
Black History Month conversation. So it's like Black History Month been kind of light this year. I ain't even gonna lie. Black History Month been kind of mid this year. You feel me? Like especially coming out of the post George Floyd, post Breonna Taylor Black History Months. You feel me? It seems like there was like a social conscious of, hey, it's Black History Month. Hey, let's do it. Let's make sure we touching on all the bases. And so this year, 2023, right? I think we fully post-pandemic. We fully like the post-COVID world, right? People returning to work. We going back to regular.
Semi. Hell, like a motherfucker.
That's why I was yeah. We can call it that, but you know, it's still trickling around, right? But this Black History Month been light though. You feel me? Like we haven't seen the large efforts and the week-long shows and celebrations highlighting the things that Black people have done and what's important to Black people. And so the question that I want to ask,
even the corporate push, I also want to, because we're going to get and talk about other corporations, but I think that was what really started to be a sign and a symbol, was a lot of big business was like, we love you Black people. Don't you ever forget that. And this year the vibes ain't really been there, but you know, that's just me.
Yeah, the Black History Month commercials have been light. They've skipped on the Black History Month commercials. But the question I want to ask y'all, like, is that a good thing though? Like, because as much as we criticize people's efforts, and we'll talk more about what those efforts look like in a second, but have we finally moved out of the pandering age, or are people leaving Black History Month behind? What do y'all think?
I mean, you know, I don't know. I don't think they're. My answer is that they leaving Black History Month behind, because I don't think they're critically thinking enough to be like, oh, a lot of this stuff that we do is performative. We need to kind of spread it out or do things more throughout the year or whatever. So let's not put so much gas and hype into Black History Month. Let's think about ways that we can enhance Black people, their opportunities, their experiences, the environments that they're in other ways. I don't think that they're doing that. I think that inflation is inflationing, and we'll be talking about that in later parts of the show. And they found where do we trim the fat? Where do we cut things out of programming? And they have made the decision that Black History Month is right. And so I think niggas have moved on. And what is, I think, interesting to me is that, like, you know, a couple years ago, I feel like a year or two ago, maybe very recently, like Bath and Body Works had a whole Black History Month collection. Now they were criticized for that shit, but they had taken a stance and like had a whole collection of candles and setups and stuff like that in stores. I think it was for Juneteenth, which is also this weird kind of universal celebration that we're expecting people to have
these days
now. Right. So it's adjacent to Black History Month. And I think Walmart had like a Black History Month flavored ice cream. And it was just all types of weird shit. So I don't know. I don't miss those gestures, but I'm like, where y'all at? So I don't know what else I want them to do. I'm conflicted. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's weird.
I'm conflicted too. I would describe it as a double-edged sword. I would just center the motivation to say things that you feel like is good for Black folks. I would structure it around white guilt. I think that white guilt is almost it operates off of a motor, and that motor has to have gas and tune-ups. You feel me? Shit, you know, white guilt it's the game we're supposed to give already. You feel me? Almost like, because that was all in many instances that was, I feel like, motivating a lot of action that we seen in 2020 and 2021. White guilt ain't enough to fuel liberation. White guilt ain't enough to recognize niggas' political, social, economic positions. You see what I'm saying? And I feel like the gas that ran out.
You know what's interesting in terms of the gas running out? I think you speak to a unique time that we're in. And Kimya posted a comment that's like, I think they decided to be white supremacists, like Texas trying to say DEI is discriminatory, like Florida is. I think the tone and the texture of putting too much emphasis on this has changed so much in the broader kind of conversation, and the way that they stripping books out of libraries, and the way that they taking questions about Black history and stuff like that off of the AP test, the AP classes. Like, we are moving so far away from censoring diversity, equity, inclusion as something important to be taught about in classrooms or to shape institutional decisions off of. I think maybe an offshoot of that, based on what Kimya is saying, is that they're like, we ain't gassing that shit up no more. That's not the type of time. Like you said, we exhausted. Like we tired. We did.
I'm of you saying too. Like, it's like we allow for y'all to weaponize white privilege against, white guilt against us, to get us to do campaigns, to get us to do promotions and sponsorships. We don't care about that no more. The motor and the gas has went out on the white guilt. You got to pick another vehicle to put on the lane, and fuck y'all. As a matter of fact, not only fuck y'all. Anytime you say Black history, I think it's CRT. Therefore, no Black history, because CRT is bad. Anytime you start talking about equity, I think that is bad because you're weaponizing against white kids. It's literally like white guilt debate terms. Like, it's been turned. White guilt was bad. Nah, hell no, it's good. Yeah. No.
Well, so I think it's it is. I would say that it's not necessarily that white guilt has been turned, but there's another side. There's another side that has more institutional support with people like Ron DeSantis. Like Ron DeSantis, like now that he's like the kind of like the new Trump, right? The Republican, right? Now that like his approach is we're gonna criminalize wokeness, right? And a part of criminalizing wokeness is criminalizing the history of racism. And a lot of how we understand and appreciate Black history is through the ability to overcome racism. But we now have a legitimate, strong institutional group that are willing to say that that we're willing to look at what y'all call white guilt and then turn that. Y'all wanting us to feel guilty. It's now a group of people that saying like, forget guilt. Y'all trying to tell us that we bad white people, and that's bad.
Yeah.
And corporations are more so like, well, we not trying to pick a side. We willing to go with whoever really is more convenient. So if it's a battle between the two, maybe we should just sit this one out. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because every time you see efforts of diversity, there's this new side, the new radical white conservative that is willing to say diversity is racist, and people take that serious.
Yeah, eat it up.
And so it's no longer as convenient just to be like, because to be honest, I think that white guilt is better for neoliberalism because it allows them to be like, oh, we feel bad. Our company feels bad. They'll buy more stuff from us.
Yeah.
Oh, we recognize racism, and we think whiteness is is something that should be challenged. Buy things from us.
I mean,
that was the easy thing to do, right? But now that there's another side that's willing to say we're not going to buy things from you because you're focused on diversity, then it's
you gotta make a decision. You gotta hit a pivot, and
exactly.
I don't know. I mean, I think what is weird is that we hear so much about the consumership of the Black population, right? We hear so much about the way that Black dollars work and move. It would seem like the strategically wise decision to just give niggas what they want, give them the attention, the airtime, the space, because of how much we participate in the American economy. We buy more and consume more, spend more than a whole lot of other demographics, and are willing to let our money and our dollars escape our communities more often and in more and quicker. Rather, I'd say, right? We've heard kind of the statistics about how long it takes, for example, the Asian dollar to leave the Asian community, or for the a dollar between Latinx people to leave those particular communities and businesses and things like that. And so I just think it's logical when you got niggas buying most of the things to just make sure niggas are at the center, right? But I mean, I don't know. You put enough Black folk in commercials, you put enough hip hop music in the back of a McDonald's, bah, 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 right? You got the niggas singing.
Shout out to Pusha T.
You know what I'm saying? And so I think that might be sufficient to some niggas in a way, because they are doing it in other strategic, more benign ways as opposed to being more in your face with it. We'll put you in the promo. We'll put your voice in the background of, you know what I'm saying, whatever the overlay or the voiceover of whatever product. We'll do some of those things, but centering, forcing the conversation, forcing people to be reflective on, because to say that people were the first or that we're challenging certain things is an admittance of what the status quo is or what it used to be, right? How we have it. So you automatically de facto have to acknowledge some of the racial baggage and some of the racial tension that forced us to be in conversations about why there was a first, or why certain numbers are these ways, or how statistics are here, or why
there is a barrier.
Exactly, right? So that's admitting fault. And like we kind of all concluded, that's not something that white guilt wants to do anymore. They tired.
But the question though is it a good thing or bad thing?
You know?
Is it good or bad? Like, so, because like I guess I'll give the straightforward answer. It's actually a good thing. Less pandering, the better. We shouldn't appreciate Black History Month more just because the people that we buy stuff from is willing to throw the RBG flag on something. So yeah, it's a good thing.
Hold on, so you ain't about an Apple red, black and green Apple Watch band? You ain't about a band?
No. I got the little.
I don't even have an iPhone.
Stainless steel from
you say you're like you talking to Toya because you know I don't even have an iPhone. But I want to transition.
Buying no RBG gear from Apple. What the fuck out of here?
I want to transition the conversation into this though. Like, is there anybody doing it right though? Right, when we look at popular culture, can we say that there is an effort to recognize Black History Month that isn't cringeworthy, that isn't problematic?
And this is me saying I still wouldn't buy the products. I don't think I'm compelled to buy the designs, but I think Target, right, as a corporation, has made the most meaningful, most tangible gestures toward Black people and Black products outside of Black History Month, but also including Black History Month. So we know Target, has been a landing place for like, hey, they have a big Black History Month collection now. I'm talking about they got shirts on, hoodies on, sweatsuits on. You pick all, it's just all in Target, right? So
and from Black artists.
Yes, from Black artists, right, who have created these products to be sold in these spaces. And so I'm loving that, and I'm a fan of that. But also, the products from Tabitha Brown. There's like the black sunscreen that they sell in there.
Black sunscreen. I know sis Lene is a Target partner. And been a Target partner for like a year or two. You know what I'm saying? So I know they just be rocking with different Black content curators, whether they doing partnerships or whether they doing actual, you know what I'm saying, like Tab is doing.
I'm forgetting somebody else who's popular who has their products in Target, and I cannot think of it right now. But I've heard and seen more. Black Girl Sunscreen is the name of the sunscreen. I actually just got me some the other day. I was borrowing some and then finally went ahead and committed to buying my own. But I feel like throughout the year and over the last few years, maybe since George Floyd, I think maybe even before that, and I don't want to misspeak on that, but have continued to make sure that they are a place in a space and a retailer, a large, I think they call big box retailer, that has allowed for Black products to be in their marketplace and to get the kind of presence and the kind of credibility and reputability amongst cosmetics, amongst attire with artists, right? That I think is something to applaud and to maybe replicate, right? And Tiffany is the one who put me on game about this year's rotation of the attire. But I know I've seen them have different products before. So word to Target, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, this is Target right around the street, which says a lot because like I now live in a community where Target is around the corner and not something else. So that's another thing. But the one thing that I have been able to recognize, like when I walk into Target, is they don't have like this bombastic, right? Like they doing too much with they Black History Month display. But they make when you walk in, it's like, they like, hey, this is our Black History Month collection. It's like right here. Like it's in the front. You feel me? But Tabitha Brown, they market her throughout that mug though. Like all through her products, bro. Like they pushing Tabitha Brown products. Shout out to Tabitha Brown.
Ain't Tab products was already selling out in like September, October. You know what I'm saying? Cause I follow her on social media so much, so she's selling sundresses and shit like that. And she like, hey y'all, da 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 da. And then I'm knowing just like, hey, her agency CAA, they some bad motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? So they got a link in.
Yeah, so Target is doing it right, and we appreciate what they're attempting to do. There's still a neoliberalism critique there that we'll probably get to one of these days.
Definitely.
Y'all know we like to get to that point, but we definitely want to give props where props is due. But fuck all the positive shit. Y'all being too productive and being all happy. Oh, Black History Month, they're doing it right. Oh yeah, fuck all that.
Yeah.
The controversy that we need to talk about is how they get it wrong. And I've never seen Black History Month done this wrong before, people.
Yeah.
Shout out to Auntie Tab, too. My son, Tab Time, my son loves Tab Time. So shout out to Tabitha Brown. But that's positive. SOTU. That's positive.
Hey man, I'm under the impression that this Black History Month is on the performative energy of allyship and not being accomplished. I think that allyship is about being able to, you feel me, like when George Yancey talked about the spectator at the lynching. To me, I feel like allyship is about being a spectator, and I think that because a lot of people are just situated in being a spectator, it's all about how they spectatorship is going to be perceived. You see what I'm saying? So it's like if me being a spectator makes it where I receive criticism, I don't even want to be a spectator no more. Fuck y'all. Damn if I do, damn if I don't. I'd rather be damned to be happy. That's how I view it. You know what I'm saying?
Let's talk about being a spectator though. And you a spectator on the block, and you outside enjoying your community, right? Doing normal community shit, and you look outside and see this.
Lord Jesus.
You look outside and see this.
It's about to be bad, dog.
You look outside and see that
Black History Month law enforcement vehicle with
you can find these in cities like Memphis, Miami, Durham, North Carolina got them, Columbus, Ohio got them. Those are just some of the American cities that have decided to put Black History Month images, colorways. Columbus, Ohio had Black people's faces.
Hold on, let me get to it.
Please go to the picture.
So this is Miami, right?
Yeah.
This is the City of Miami Police Department. They got the fist though.
Like, talking about the Black Power fist on the mugs. That's 4 fists on there, man. That's 4 Black Power fists on there.
And like, come on. And when we look at these fists, how many times have these fists have been thrown up in opposition to policing?
At the very protest that we saw around the world just 2 years ago.
But I think this right here is the perfect example of what I was just saying. It's, to me, it's like, hey, these law enforcement are trying to be good allies of spectatorship of anti-Black and say, hey, Black people, we see you. We right now are taking time in the chop up to criticize the way in which they've decided to deploy their spectator allyship. A lot of them don't want to do the work to be able to get away and or to resolve the criticism. They rather just not deal with the criticism at all. And to me, it's just like this. To me, it is the insidious nature of progressivism, because it makes it where you can tone police niggas for being like, "Hey, they tried." What you mean, toy? A political plug? Are you gonna be mad? These law enforcement tried to do this, that, and the other. We're damn. So what would you rather them do? Would you rather them keep the law enforcement cars the same? Nah, I'd rather them not kill niggas. Don't you think that's asking too much? I feel like that. I feel like that's the double-edged sword when I'm talking about the White House shit. It's like, hey. Some people like fuck it. Some people like fuck that in every instance. And it's just recognizing that you have 2 people or 2 groups making criticisms and you in the middle and trying to see what it is. And I recognize law enforcement is like, well, we beat up niggas. Y'all mad at us. We put niggas' history on the car. You mad at us. Niggas mad at us anyway. You might as well keep on whooping y'all ass.
Hold on. Yeah, we gonna ask the question though, right? Like, can they celebrate it? But before we get to the question though, it's a few things that I think is important to point out specifically about the police. And I want to get y'all thoughts on this. First, do y'all think this is bad timing? We're literally a country like you met Tyree Nichols' father at the White House. Why was he brought there?
He was brought there because his son was a victim. Like,
murdered by the police. Murdered by the police. And can we talk about the irony of having Dr. King on one of these police cars?
As soon as you said that, I thought like, shit.
Bro, getting arrested was the strategy of the civil rights movement because they knew the police was going to be out of pocket.
I think, you know, the history of the police, we know, is connected to the slave patrols. And so when you look at these vehicles being the slave transportation vehicles, the mechanisms by which we transport the slave from one place to another place, and we just kind of historically look at these vehicles from that lens, that is where it becomes all the more scathing and shocking, is that you'll never be able to shake that baggage, my nigga. You'll never be able to delink or unlink yourself from that history. So I don't care what you want to celebrate. I don't care what you want to valorize. I don't care whose faces you want to slap on the side of these vehicles. These are slave catching cars, my nigga. History proves that because of the embeddedness of the slave patrols in the structure, in the new organizing of American policing. And so I think that's what's blowing my mind, is that you just slap black people's faces on the vehicles that transport the slaves. And I think that's just crazy to me. Like, I cannot imagine. Do you know how pissed I would be on top of being arrested, to be arrested and put in the back of one of these cars? I would demand another vehicle. Like, I am ethically and morally and diametrically opposed to getting into this vehicle.
I'm refused to be arrested by the Black History Month joint.
Like, what? And then when you even acknowledge in the context, black people are disproportionately taken to jail in vehicles. You decided to paint the vehicle in Black History Guard.
I mean, Tiffany said it, I think, pretty spot on, is that, you know, they play in our face, right? This is mockery. You know what I'm saying? I refuse to believe there's nobody with a level of consciousness, a sociology degree, the ability to critically think, that are at the top ranks or at the places, whoever greenlit these projects, who didn't know some of the illogical baggage that comes with these types of decisions, and they did that shit anyway. Why? Because they play in our face. And I think they think it's funny. I think they think it's just a haha, I gotcha. How can they be mad at us? How can they hate us? Look at our cruisers.
It's literally like a slave catcher wagon having "Let Freedom Ring" painted on the goddamn wagon. This wagon is going throughout the South looking for Nat Turner and his gang and putting their ass in the goddamn wagon, and the wagon say "Let Freedom Ring."
Come on.
Hey, look, it's like if the police was locking you up talking about "follow the drinking gold."
Look at it. Third Beauty said, imagine being murdered, and then the white cop who did it, or let's say this, the black cop who did it, the cop who did it. Imagine being murdered and the cop who took your life jump back in that joint. Who jump back in that?
So, and the interesting thing about, but the interesting thing about Toya actually saying, like, no, not white cop being murdered. Why would she need to correct herself? Why would Toya need to say, well, not white cop, but being murdered by the police? That's because we as a nation, we as black people, are still dealing with the beating death of Tyree Nichols.
What up, Ryan?
What up, Ryan?
By black, shout out to Ryan, by black police officers.
Yeah.
Y'all literally want us to look at these vehicles and say, look at the progressive nature of these police. When we can say, hey, okay, Tyree Nichols was murdered. He was beat to death by the police. Were they white? No, they look like him.
Hey, this is the clip right here. This is the clip. I feel like this is the part right here we're gonna put in the clip so we can repost, right? A lot of the sensationalizing of black cops, it'll be the same thing of us trying to sensationalize black slave masters. Right. Recognizing that regardless whether you're a slave master, regardless whether you're a cop, what makes you in that position is who you're able to dominate and or who you're able to put in a subservient, you feel me, place. Whether you're a black cop or a black slave master, the people you policing or enslaving is black bodies. So if you believe that the enslavement of black people or the policing of black people is structurally changed based off of who's doing it, I think that you're racially illiterate and you don't really understand how power and domination works. Because it's like, hey, that don't mean shit.
I mean, listen, white supremacy is what we know to be an equal opportunity employer, right? It'll hire everybody. The question is not about who can utilize the mechanisms and the strategies of white supremacy. It is about the target audience who is impacted and influenced the most, and that is black people, and in all parts in the carceral reality of the state and how we understand the way that bodies move, right? We understand black bodies, right? Black flesh that end up at the undermined end of that stick, the short end of that stick. So it doesn't matter about the perpetuators of that violence. This is a focus on the people who are recipients of that violence. right?
So it's a few things I want to point out that's like uniquely wrong with this, and y'all can add on to it. The first is bad timing.
Y'all too little. I want to see y'all whole faces again. Can we get this?
Oh,
okay. Bring it back. Bring it back. Bring it back. Hey,
my dogs.
Yeah. The first thing I want to point out is it's bad timing. We talk Tyree Nichols. We as black people are still dealing with the like literally like, oh, these are brothers that did this.
Yeah.
Like these are melanated, as my Hotep brothers would say. It's melanated individuals who enacted this type of violence, right? So to attempt to say that, like, oh, we as a police department, as a structure of policing, celebrate Black History Month, nah, bro, y'all, we're still reeling from the Black death that comes from the police departments. Absolutely. So it's like, yo, like this is definitely ugly. Second, I feel like this is shameless pandering. This police departments are adhering themselves to these images and to these, like this type of marketing, the same reason the businesses do it. Target may be doing it better, but they recognize that they are more likely to have more Black customers if they engage in a Black History Month celebration that is the most respectful. Police don't give a damn. They're like, hey, we did it. You know what I'm saying? And then third, I think it's extremely tone deaf. I think Black people have bigger issues with policing than whether or not they feel like they respect Black History Month. Right. We can care less if the police respect Black History Month. Okay,
stop killing us.
Yeah,
that's the beginning and the end of it.
If we can start there, right? Like if y'all was to like literally, if y'all was to put on y'all cars, stop killing Black people. There will be no pushback. Yeah. But if y'all up there putting fists and Dr. King, RBG, and Bishop Desmond Tutu, bro, that don't do shit. That don't do shit. Like we can care less about that. But the question that I want to ask y'all is, do they get an A for effort?
No.
Hell no. I say niggas ain't never got no A for effort. Shit. You know what I'm saying? Hey, the pathway to hell is paved with good intentions.
Hello?
Intentions ain't never outride impacts, goddamn. And intentions ain't never been able to, you know what I'm saying, override, violence itself. So it's like, hey, listen, man, I intended to be a good person. Most people intend to be good people. Most people not.
Listen.
Okay. So then my follow-up question, Toya, Lee.
Tiffany's so upset. She used the Spanish exclamation point.
Tiffany's so mad. She started speaking Spanish. She got excited in Spanish.
Yeah.
Upside down exclamation point. Get it together.
Yeah.
Soto said, Dina said they get an A for almost. Is it almost though, Dina?
No, but
is it even almost?
And Dina said,
I always think they was close.
Here's my favorite grade though. You know what, Theory of Beauty wild as hell.
Oh,
they got an F for fucking.
We trying to get monetized, goddamn.
Hey, you talking too crazy. We talking too crazy.
Other people saying hell no.
Hell no. No. Hell no. Yeah.
Brian said they don't even get no grade, they get held back a grade. How about you don't even get the grade?
What? Repeat the first grade again. Maybe this time you'll learn and get to the second grade.
My lord.
With this type of effort, you're not going to graduate, right? it's that type of thing. No. But so with that being said, though, like let's get serious, y'all. Can the police department celebrate Black History Month at all? Is it something that they can do?
I don't know. Nothing. All of these things will be grouped as the performative until they're able to demonstrate tangible data that their juxtaposition and orientation toward Black people and Black life and Black communities and protecting and not over policing Black communities change. Right? The devil has always been in the details for them. And the more people have become more literate in reading and writing race, particularly through the lens of the law, we've been super sleuths on figuring out the holes and the gaps and the inconsistencies and the contradictions of what the police say and they care about and what they actually do. So there's not a t-shirt, There's not just the same way. There's not a car. There's not a function. There's not a cookout. There's not a block party you can throw. Right, all of these different gestures that cities across the country try to do are terrible. Right, I want you all to think back to the politicians. I specifically am seeing what's that white woman name who's older, whose husband got hit with a hammer. The white woman.
I'm laughing. It's Nancy Pelosi. Yeah, I'm laughing.
It was coming to me, but I was missing it. Y'all remember when they took a knee and put the stoles on?
Well, the kente cloth with the
that was for George Floyd. That was for George Floyd.
Trash. Right, that means bupkis to me when y'all still trying to fund the police, when you still fortifying their budgets with cash, when you still up here dealing with piecemeal gestures like body cams and shit like that. None of those things mean anything to me. So take all of that shit and go, because you'll never get any credibility from me until the numbers change.
Hey, 20, I think that goes smoothly. And what I want to say smoothly is police cannot celebrate Black History Month as an action.
Okay.
It can only be a long-winded process.
Come on.
If you are killing and murdering and incarcerating niggas on a day-to-day basis, and then for Black History Month, you want to just randomly celebrate Black history, there's no way you can celebrate Black history when you're denigrating Black history, when you're locking Black history up, when you're killing Black history. So for me, it's like, in a world, there is maybe a small but process that law enforcement can take to be able to quote unquote celebrate, you feel me, Black History Month, but it cannot be a disavow of the Black history that the police is implicated in. Because we can acknowledge policing in America is implicated in Black history. Not for all the good things, but regardless, it's implicated. So law enforcement cannot just.
Who was there keeping us from the institutions that we wanted to fight through or burn down or to challenge or to overturn? The police were there, right? Yeah. Stopping us at every turn, at every step to make sure that none of our strides were successful, to make sure that their dogs and their hoses were turned against us when we were simply trying to take a walk and sing songs.
Why was the National Guard called? Why did they have to call the National Guard?
Look you niggas in the place. Keep y'all in y'all and make sure you know it.
So, hey, last question before we move on. Are there any other organizations that just can't celebrate Black History Month? Is anybody else that we saying just like, nah, like y'all can save it? Is it just police?
I don't think it's just police. I think these are not organizations, but every politician, every conservative politician who posts like Happy Black History Month, keep that shit to yourself. Do not tweet, do not post, do not celebrate. If you are advocating for CRT to be taken out of school, if you are arguing that things like affirmative action should have been taken away and rolled back, if those are the positions that you're taking and that you don't keep those fucking tweets, keep your little posts, keep your little social media videos and campaigns that you're gonna drop, keep all of that. Like we don't want to
keep all of it.
You don't want to
keep it from me. Keep it.
I'm good.
Looking at.
And also,
we don't need it.
I see the bullshit at the Grammys where they were showing fake headlines of police disarming during protests because of the power of music. I didn't hear even conversation about that, but now that's gonna make me want to go look back.
Swear to God,
because they tried it.
Why are the Grammys using police propaganda to send any message about anything? Like how, again, the tone deafness of it all. For me, like the police are not good props. They're not good examples. They're not good ways to make jokes
is an extension of the state.
Like keep all of that.
Everything is an extension of the state. Everything is an extension of the state.
And to answer the question, before we go to the next topic, I would just say the entities or institutions that are structured by fucking up Black people, the way in which you celebrate Black history, it can't be one that just ignores and or tries to just act like this. You know what I'm saying? How you implicate in Black history don't exist. So I'm thinking of like the military industrial complex. You feel me? The prison industrial complex. You know what I'm saying? Many different facets of the healthcare. It's like, hey man, y'all got there running up millions and billions of dollars of being able to make it where Black women are more likely to die during childbirth. Hey, I don't want to hear none of y'all motherfuckers trying to celebrate Black history without celebrating Black life. That's just what it is. If your entity is not celebrating Black life, I don't want to hear shit about you celebrating Black history.
Shout out to Blake. Police celebrating Black History Month is like Chick-fil-A celebrating gay pride. The shit just don't make sense.
Keep it.
Don't go together.
Keep it. We're good. No.
Hey, y'all pick for that. We can go to the next one.
Yeah. That's one of the things. Like, we're good. But transitioning. I want to go ahead and transition into the what we got, the social chop.
Absolutely. So social chop is a conversation. I don't know why I'm out of focus. Come back. But the social chop is going to be about inflation, and that's because we can't hide from it. I know it's affecting me because it's affecting y'all. Things are getting tight. We've had conversations before about inflation. A few months ago, we were in season 3 just because we were first starting to hear and see the rumblings and grumblings of things. But now, ain't nothing changed. It's only gotten worse, right? We know that the Fed has risen interest rates yet again, right, in an attempt to combat inflation, but that means it makes it harder for people to get loans for things like vehicles. It makes it harder for people to get loans for their houses. It makes it harder for people to get personal loans, right? All types of things that are creating barriers for folks. And everything's just high. Everything high. So I guess my question with y'all, knowing what we know, now that we're living in times of inflation and there are conversations about, recession this year, what we can anticipate. I don't know why my camera acting wild, but I guess my question to y'all, and y'all, I need y'all
back a little bit.
Huh?
I try to go back a little bit, see if it'll put you in focus.
I want to know from y'all in the comments, with inflation increasing, what was the first sign for you, or what have been some recent signs for you that things are out of control? Right? Not even the first sign.
Eggs.
Yeah, but because Dina and everybody's been talking about eggs, but I want to say even outside of eggs, right? We know eggs high as shit, right? Just out of control, can't control it. But what are some other things that y'all are seeing that's out of control? I'm gonna tell y'all what pissed me off is I shop at Ralph's, which is a Kroger store that is popular here in the state of California. And in the freezer section,
Ralph's expensive though, Toya.
Listen, but understand this, but they out of control, bro. And I'm finally unblurred, but peep this out. So in the little refrigerator section, the hot food and some of the wraps and the sandwiches and stuff like that, they got little pinwheels, these little wraps, little wraps, you slice them up, little pinwheels, they really nice. Them hoes was 6, get 6 little slices, and they was like this big. They was like 1.5 inches high. They was $5 for 6 of them. Then I looked up, inflation happened. I went to the store. They give you the same 6, the same size, but they was like, we want $6 from you. I said, okay, $1 per little roll. That's cool. I just want my little turkey delight in the afternoon, little turkey cheese situation. I go sit down somewhere. My nigga, I went up there the other day to go grab them hoes. They about 3/4 of an inch. So they hella smaller, and them things are $7. And I was so offended.
Less for more.
I mean, literally less food, less product, and y'all are continuing to wait
more money.
That was my little quick, easy peasy lunch solution. I think it was only they're like 40 grams of protein, 420 calories. So I'm just, in terms of just my day to day and how I'm flowing and moving and where I spend my money, I was taking it back.
Man,
but how much
I don't even believe in inflation.
So what's some examples y'all got about what y'all been seeing around the way that's just through the roof?
This nigga said he don't believe in inflation though.
I feel like I call it price gouging. To me, the word inflation,
I knew he was going there.
I swear to God. To me, I feel like once I start seeing every one of these industries that have raised their prices based off of the guise of inflation, they also experiencing record high profits. So for me, it's thinking about, okay, the justification for inflation says that the cost of production is raising. So if your cost of production is raising, that means that these record high profits, it shouldn't be there. So to me, it seems as the American people are bearing the brunt or taking the expense of the inflation. It's really just corporate price gouging. Goddamn.
I mean, that's not a lot. But think about, so knowing what we know about how corporations is getting over, what is something that you do in your daily life or that you like to enjoy in your daily life that you can damn, that jumped up on me and I was not expecting that. What have y'all seen?
Man, these haircuts, these edge ups and haircuts, goddamn. Hey, listen, I started growing locks originally because haircuts cost too much.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? I was paying $3 for an edge up in 2006 when I first started growing my locks. When I graduated from college, I was complaining about spending $10 on a lineup.
Yeah.
Hey, now them niggas will charge you $60 for a lineup. You know what I'm saying?
You gotta hit niggas over the head.
Cut on the edges, so it's a haircut. I faded. I gave you a taper fade. I gave you a taper on the edge up, so it's a haircut.
So it's a haircut.
Once I start seeing people in my community start having the same price gouging idea, man, goddamn, I went to the wrong thing. I went to get I should have went to public school.
That part.
Make it dope money.
Listen.
You know, that's what I was about to say. That's what I say. Lee is he been indoctrinated by Katie Porter. Shout out to Katie Porter, man, who has made sure that when it comes to these types of like understanding why prices are higher than they are, Katie Porter has been.
Katie Porter is. Shout out to Nina Turner. Nina Turner been the one that's been dropping shit on me. Like, man, you know what? I ain't even thought about that.
You know who Katie Porter is, but anyway,
for real,
for me,
white woman with the graphs who always making points
with the graphs, bro. Like that's what I'm saying. You know,
she the hell out of people, reading the hell out of her constituents by getting them together. Just by being like, here's where you're not.
I know who that is for sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. We didn't play it on top of it. We didn't show it on top of it before.
She's a
we did.
She's in the state of California. She represents Orange County, I believe. She's somewhere out here where I'm at.
That's why I knew. That's why I knew you knew who she was.
Yeah, we played it on Chapter. That's why. She made a TikTok video to my TikTok.
But for me, bro, I'm about to be honest. It was, damn, I'm about to expose how bougie I am.
Come on,
bougie Negro alert.
It's no. Shut up. My son. Don't do that to you. Orange County.
I didn't get an address.
Orange County. Damn. All right. My son, my son doesn't drink dairy milk. He drinks oat milk. Oatly.
You're stupid.
Because y'all know how black people was like, why do we drink? All right, that's another conversation. But my son drinks oat milk, and oat milk has literally went up like $6-7, like a carton, like the paper carton. We ain't talking jugs like we get 2%. Man, we talking about the cartons. You feel me? So it's like at Rouse and Target's a little bit cheaper. Actually, Target's a little bit cheaper, but Oatly oat milk. So oat milk that doesn't contain sunflower seed oil, which is known to cause inflammation and those types of things. Oat milk that doesn't contain sunflower seed oil is a little bit more expensive than brand oat milk. So that's
bougie ass really, nigga alert right now. God damn, boy, I can just smell the bouginess coming off your breath, nigga. Like,
my nephew only deserves the finest.
Thank you.
So we got from the people. We've been showing Brian's comment. Brian said,
"Hey man, let me know."
While my provider OG&E posted record profits over the last 2 years, so a great example of what Lee was talking about. I noticed that stores aren't getting shipments like they need, and some of the shopping centers are getting closed down. So a lot of businesses are hiking up prices in order to kind of keep up, to compete. And I think a lot of these mom and pop and a lot of these stores that are not trying to get over, they just simply trying to kind of keep the lights on, pay the bills, and live with, some level of comfort, are the ones that are having to rival with a lot of these stores, and they can't keep up. And that's because of shipments and distributors and things like that having issues in the production chain. Miss Maisha, shout out to you. Welcome to this evening. Said, I knew when I tried to buy romaine lettuce and within a month it went from $2.99 to $30. I was done. Nigga, yes. Like,
that's what part of me was talking about too.
I be trying to buy salad stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I mean, this goes back to the conversation a lot of people are having about how just you might as well go eat out because it's the same cost. Like by the time you get done paying for groceries and eating off of maybe a bag or even a little carton or the square plastic container of lettuce for 2 meals, even if you get a little one, like you just might as well go out and eat and spend your little money at whatever your favorite eatery is because it's all shaking out to be the same. Ethereal Beauty said a couple things. One, inflation implies someone is pumping up the balloon, definitely price gouging. And then said, honestly, I would say seeing videos of how New Yorkers live, $3,600 for 150 inches of living is crazy. I saw a video recently where a nigga was basically living in a room with a bathroom and a kitchen. And they were like, and this is where I put my clothes. And you know what they were talking about? They were talking about the cabinets above the sink in the kitchen. So you telling me you want to fry a little chicken, you want to make a little bacon, and it's just your sweaters are sitting right over
it. Right above it. Like, you go to work smelling like chicken grease.
Gross. Right? Blake said a roast and a sack of potatoes cost me $30, and that definitely is supposed to be cheap eating. And we're gonna talk about some meals that'll help us get through these things, but potatoes and a nice little slab, a little hunk of meat is definitely not supposed to cost that much money, right? A couple other people. Let me see. I mean, it's a bunch of different comments. Y'all are definitely chopping it up.
Tyler said, "How do you milk an oat?" Man, listen, Tyler, I'm not dealing with you.
No, bro.
Hey,
Ethereal Beauty, do not take him serious. Ethereal Beauty, do not take him serious. I got something I want to show real quick. Do not deal with Tyler. We're not worrying about his ass right now.
I mean,
come on, Tyler.
Go for it.
So corporate CEOs are making bank while blaming workers for hiking prices. So we want to start with Amazon. Blamed higher prices on wage increases. The wage gap between the lower tier Amazon workers and the CEO is 11,000%.
Mm-hmm.
And they trying to tell you that they prices are going up because of wages. There's an 11,000% gap, people.
Yeah, man.
All right, let's go down. Okay, Apple blamed higher prices on labor costs. There's a 464% gap between the top at Apple and at the bottom.
And can I also point? You talking about Apple, right?
Mm-hmm. It's just
Okay.
Apple.
When we get to McDonald's, I want to make an observation too about what's interesting with them.
Well, no, because we talked to. Go ahead. We can go to McDonald's next. 89% gap. That's still a lot. Go ahead, Toya.
I mean, and they're blaming labor inflation, but the thing that confuses me is more and more McDonald's are coming out to have kiosks. I'm seeing a new news report every day. There is a McDonald's that's fully functioning in the state of Texas that has no employees inside of it. They literally are fully functioning, full service operation that does not have a heartbeat inside of the building. So you should be able to keep up with labor inflation, which I'm assuming can be codified as how much money they're having to increasingly pay fast food workers, because people have been, rallying for those increases in pay. But nigga, if you're not paying the machines, why don't you have surplus money to go ahead and pay the actual people that are employed by your company like that? The logic is not logicking, right? You should have plenty of money for labor inflation because you're still opening stores and putting kiosks in them that don't have people who have to person them, which means you should have plenty of money to go around for the people who are showing up on day to day.
Right.
Doesn't make sense to me.
Right. So with McDonald's is an 89% gap between the top and the bottom percent.
Dennis said, and then I'm worried about inflation. They're always giving away food with their new app, and that's true.
Man, listen, giving away a McChicken that costs 30 cents to make and that you're selling for $2. You know what I mean? Are you giving it away? Yeah, it's $2, but it only take you like that. That ain't even real chicken.
Yeah, man.
As far as most people concerned, what are we doing? The most reasonable is Starbucks, and they still blaming higher prices on labor costs. But there's a 30% gap between the top and the bottom at Starbucks, and they consider to be more liberal in terms of how they operate. Go ahead.
Allegedly, but what I will say is that employees have had to unionize to make sure they get the money. You know what I'm saying? That they're supposed to be paid and that they need to, in terms of livable wages. So those labor costs are being passed off to people who should have just been taken care of in the first place, because y'all should have ethical practices in terms of how much you're paying people to do the job and to keep your company open. But we've been having a lot of conversations, so I want to keep this part of it moving. My second question to you and to the people in the chat is, what is one thing you have already had to cut out of your budget, or what's the first thing on your chopping block if things start to get real tight for you, and you kind of just like, what we gonna let go? My thing, and I'm very sad to say it, I've already kind of had to make some concessions up to this point, and I think I'm gonna get back in the game a little bit, but I can't do it how I've been doing these last couple of years, and that's sneakers, right? Y'all know I'm a sneaker girl. I love a good pair of shoes. Listen, I got a couple pair, but I got more Michael Jordan tennis shoes than anything else. And I really want to go back to rebuilding my Air Max collection, but I haven't been able to really put a lot of energy into that these last few months because it just don't seem like it make a lot of sense to drop the 200. Because then the shoes when they went up, right? They was dropping ones for 170, 180. Now you're not really getting no Jordan drops for less than 200, 210, 225. So even the cost of J's is going up, and I'm just like, man, y'all playing. Like, it's some shit dropping on Saturday, and I'm sitting on the edge of my seat, like, should I? I love myself.
Yeah, get off the edge
Valentine's
of your seat, girl.
Did you get off of what?
Get off the edge of your seat, because it's Valentine's week.
I love myself.
We in a recession.
Like, I should love me. Do you agree with that?
No. I agree.
What kind of message are you promoting? Political plug? Like, that's crazy. But
listen, the political plug is a married man. So all of these things, we have different conversations, Toya. We live different lives. Okay, I
I
am a
understand.
father and a husband.
Mhm.
Don't talk. What's it called? Valentine's Day is renamed. What am I doing to make sure my wife is cool
Mhm.
on February 15th day?
Listen,
That's what that's called. So that's what I'm
listen.
worried about.
As much as I love you,
Lee must have got a phone call, so he
he
had to
did.
drop out.
He did.
But
He
yeah.
did. But what about you? So considering your real life and your different life you live, what is something that either you've had to limit or reduce, or that you might have to cut out that is like that you enjoy and that you appreciate, but that might have to be on the chopping block because of how much money is moving right now?
Well, I mean, I think the biggest problem is that we live in California, so like everything,
Everything is
like
through
you
the roof.
kind of, yeah, like you paying bread. I mean, I think that the biggest thing that I've had to cut out, video games, like a lot of the more recreation, like things
Yeah.
that I do. Not necessarily because video game is becoming more expensive, but just because everything else is more expensive. So once you got a whole family, like that type of stuff, that got to go first.
Yeah.
And that's been a part of like how I move, what's been important. But like once that stuff went, it was a wrap. Um, we got a few people that also, Brian said, new books. Damn, Brian.
Which I mean, sometimes you got to be honest with yourself about if you're reading the ones you already bought. Like I have a ton of books, but I have not had the extracurricular time to actually read them. So I had to stop myself from because and it all started with me being like, I need to read more, and just that desire started having me spending money on books I wasn't even reading. So it sucks to have to cut out new books, but I know that is something that you know a book can reveal new things to you if you reread it. So you might just have to go run back some of the oldies but goodies and see what you get from there. What Miss Myers said though.
Miss Maisha says she's gotten better at doing her own nails. I
Yeah.
purchased nail tips, glue, etc. from Nail Supply Spot. I've been giving myself bomb ass manicures and pedicures. Actually, my wife got big into that too. So
Yeah.
like she bought the little glue thing you stick in it and it dries it.
The
All of
UV.
that.
Yeah.
No,
The
I
gel
don't do.
nail, the gel nail UV sets. I don't really.
Yeah,
Well, I used to, and
the
that's the thing.
UV
A lot of
the UV
conversations
set.
about
Yeah.
a lot of conversations about nails. In my era when I was getting my nails done, it was definitely the full set was 25, the fill was 15, the whole, and then now, like I don't wear the nails, right? But I date people who get their nails done. And I remember when I was like just kind of finding out that nails had went up, I was trying to be like, yeah, I get your nails done, whatever, you know what I'm saying? You need what 40, 50, 60 niggas was like, I need
Look,
100.
you said that at first, goddamn.
Look, that niggas was like, I need $125. And I was like, let's go eat. We can go get some food after you get done with your nails. You wanna
Right. We both could eat shit.
Bruh, you know
Like
what I'm
fucking
saying?
around with
Like
your nails, yeah.
I'd rather pay for a meal than, and drop maybe 40, 50 than the whole full set. Like mind blowing. So shout out to Miss Myasia for finding the pivot and hitting the pivot and getting good at it, and your wife too for tapping in and getting into some new gifts and talents that she didn't know about. Let's see. Ethereum Beauty said, that's what I do is challenging, but it's worth it. And I think we're talking about the nails and kind of switching it up. Dina said haircuts, I'm only getting cut up for special occasions. Otherwise, it's all me. So getting into that bag. A lot of people, the pandemic had folks kind of trying to figure out an edge up, figure out how to do that thing. Plug, why are you shaking your head?
Taking my ass to the barbershop. Still.
It's not
Well, I mean, and at the same time, like let's be for real. Like, so I paid $30 for a haircut or $40 for a haircut. Anyway, it's $5 tip. You know what I mean? That type of stuff. But that's because I live in North Hollywood. So like that's what you're gonna pay for a haircut. That it is what it is. But at the same time, I think for it's a lot, it's like for Black men, it's more cultural. Like having we don't really talk about like maintenance and like self-care for Black men, but like getting it, like having your fresh cut every couple of weeks, not going more than a couple of weeks without having a haircut. That's what you call culturally. Not for real. That's what you call self-care for Black men. Like we don't go to nail salons. We go get chopped up. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna have to go tell the barber, keep it thick. You know what I mean? Go ahead, do the taper and everything else. You feel me? But it's like that. The chop up, like I said, the chop up, the getting cut up. You feel me? That can't change. That's a cultural thing.
Yeah,
I can't.
I mean, Vincent speaking to that, and Lee's point, he said I started giving myself lineups and fades for the same reason. I used to have locks longer than Lee's, And people would be like, damn, bro, you cut clean. Like, who's your barber? And so that's how you know when your hand getting good and when your eye getting good. When you get that left hand to figure out what the hell it's doing, especially if you're a righty or if you're a lefty and you get that right hand together, that's how you know you're doing your thing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. For my gamers out there that are like the plug, Tyler says stock up on free PS Plus games. So PlayStation Plus games, if you are a PlayStationer, there are free games for you to get into.
You are silly.
Yeah.
You are silly. A PlayStationer? You are silly.
That's not what they call it, y'all.
We do not call ourselves that.
What y'all call each other? PSer?
No, we ain't got a name. We don't have a name. But if you PlayStation Plus, so you gotta play to get online, to play online games now, right? You gotta pay. PlayStation Plus is the service that you have to have in order for you to play online games. So, but what they do is they give you a free game every month. So that's pretty much the game.
Are they good games? Do they give you good games every month, or is it just like some bullshit?
Some of them good, yeah. Some of them good, yeah, for sure.
Well, gamers, go ahead and make sure y'all taking advantage. You got once a month, kind of pump ups from the PlayStation organization incorporated. Question that I have. New question that I have, and we were kind of getting at this. I think Blake was like, I'm paying $30 for potatoes and a pot roast right now, and so that might not be a strategic meal for you during this time. But real quick, y'all, what's your struggle meals? Right? What's the meals that you just like? Stuff is tight. Maybe I don't get paid until this day, or I need this to stretch, or I'm feeding a whole bunch of people. What's your favorite go-to struggle meal that you got in your back pocket? What do you go to?
I probably.
Good meal for the low.
Struggle meal for the low.
If possible, we looking for some nutrition and it not. I ain't gonna police. I ain't gonna tongue police the meal. Whatever meal you just feel like I'm broke, but I need to make some shit shake. Here's what I'm gonna put together. Tyler
said rice and eggs. I think mine probably got to be chicken thighs, air fried chicken thighs and rice.
Okay. Yeah. Air fried chicken thighs and rice.
Yeah, so you can get you a nice little bit a nice pack of chicken thighs. You feel me? Skin on.
Mm-hmm.
Throw them in the air fryer. Trader Joe's has frozen rice that you put in the microwave for 3 minutes.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? As well as any frozen vegetable like broccoli, any of those type of things. You throw them, you know what I'm saying? You steam that real quick, steam the broccoli, steam the rice. Throw the chicken thighs in the air fryer. You good to go.
Yes, indeed. I'm hip. I'm not a rice girl. I don't do rice. I don't like it unless it's with sushi. But I love the chicken thigh. I did. Dina said spaghetti. I want to go to spaghetti real quick. I know. Well, let me see. Air fried chicken thighs is a new band name. It do kind of have a little flow to it. Air fried chicken thighs.
Hey, and it's fire. Fire.
But I like the way it has a ring to it. Then it says spaghetti. Spaghetti was my favorite struggle meal growing up, right? The favorite thing that my mama would make. I just love my mother's spaghetti anyway. It's fire. It's amazing. I ask for it 10 times out of 10.
Shout out to Curl. We always gonna shout out Curl when we get the chance. Shout out to Curl.
Curl is what you do with your hair. My mother's name is Carol. We have this conversation every time. But you can't beat it. Now, my question is, and this is just as an aside, Dina, answer it, y'all answer it. Do you eat your spaghettis with the sauce? Do you integrate both of them and cook it together? Or are you a sauce on top of the noodle type of person, Plug? How are you coming at your spaghetti?
I am. I'm not gonna lie. Noodles, cooked in one pot, meat in another. Combine them. When you put the noodles in and put your meat on top.
And then you stir it together, and then or are you saying the noodles and then you put the sauce on top of the noodle?
Yeah, you take the noodles, you put the noodles on the plate, you put the sauce on top of the noodles that's on the plate, and then you eat it.
Trash.
Yeah.
Me and Dana on the same team. We integrate. We have to cook the noodles have to absorb the flavor of the sauce they need to make and build an intimate relationship. It's the only way. Ethereal Beauty said rice, beans, and canned veg. My bad. What was you about to say?
No. Go ahead, because I was going to say
rice, beans, and canned veggies, and then followed up by saying I don't eat hot dogs anymore. But if I did, it would be baked beans and hot dogs, a classic, right? A banger. And then Vance said grilled cheese, the goat, absolutely goated. Beautiful things coming from a grilled cheese. Yeah. I'm more of a just nice little sandwich person, just like a nice little turkey. I don't really do a lot of bread, but I like, wraps, like a nice little turkey cheese, little mayo, mustard, little everything seasoned on that thing, and then we do that. And yes, Tyler, Dominic does eat Karen spaghetti.
Hey man, listen.
You spaghetti like you're trying to be fake Italian, and we don't need to do that over here.
It's so, I started going to the Italian restaurants once I moved out here, so I can't help it. It is what it is. But with that being said, man, we like to thank y'all for joining us for this dialogue, for this conversation. I mean, again, we all going through it in this recession. Like it's a struggle that we all have to deal with. Some of us eat our spaghetti a little bit more bougie.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like we ain't gotta mix it in the pot. You ain't gotta mix it in the pot, Tyler.
Yeah, you do.
You know what I mean?
There you
go. You can cook
his
it.
Name is Dominique. He's Dominique. He's Italian. He likes to eat his Dominique. We like it. You think you exotic. I don't care about none of that shit. Inflation is trash. Make sure y'all sticking together. Make sure y'all sharing recipes. When we come up with these clips, meet us in the comments, and I want y'all dropping some youthful tips that you've learned along the way just about saving your bread, right? If you got any kind of money, any kind of financial advice for niggas out here, college students, folks on the edge, anybody making money, saving money, make sure you let people know. Shout out to Aldi. My tip for y'all is to go get some groceries from your local Aldi. And go to your local Walmart. I think those are the places in my area, especially living in California, that have the most reasonable prices on groceries right now. And so I'm about to go back to becoming like a Ralph's, Stater Brothers, Trader Joe girl. Now Trader Joe every now and again, but we're going to go visit old girl Aldi. We're going to go visit our friends over at Walmart and start making some carts out of that. So that is my suggestion in terms of, little tips and tricks to navigate some of these price gouges that we're seeing. Love to y'all. We're going to be back next week. We're going to talk about the Catholic Church and some of the moves that they're making toward racial harmony and unity, and kind of dealing with and navigating some of those conversations. We'll have a conversation about fat phobia next week as a social justice issue, and really get into how Black people are navigating these places and people in general in a world of fat phobia. And then y'all know we got the Black History Awards coming up on the 23rd of this month, so make sure y'all are tapped in. And y'all pull up and y'all invite people, like it, love it, share it, start signal boosting for us now, if you don't mind, because we're trying to really pick up some of our momentum. Got to show some love for Consciously popping in here tonight. He had to jump off and talk to the fam and handle some things for the evening, but it was always a blessing. It is always going to be a blessing to have our little brother in the building. Don't forget to go vote for him. NAACP Image Awards. Today is the last day, or tomorrow's the last day to vote. So go to any of his pages, go to the Instagram, go to his Facebook, go to his Twitter, go to his YouTube. You can find it everywhere. But click the link and vote so he can win social media personality of the year. So make sure to go and push and amplify him. And then besides that, closing words for you, plug, you holler at them. And then if y'all missed the intro, y'all stick around because we got a new intro, new outro. So if y'all missed it starting the show, y'all about to see how we coming for season 4. But before we get to that, plug, any final words for the people?
Yeah, man. Just again, this inflation ain't no joke. These are more important conversations to have, because these have more to do with, like, listen.
We got you, Vince. We're gonna follow you back for sure.
Yo, hey, for sure. But we definitely gotta make sure that we recognize in the way that these things interact. The role inflation plays isn't just a question of like a topic on a debate show, but also like feeding our families, feeding our kids. Like these things become that much more important. So thank y'all for joining us. We will be back next week. Shout out to the Conscious Lead for being able to join part of the conversation today. He's in Kentucky.
He's in Lexington. He's going to be a part of a some men's programming at UK, at the University of Kentucky. So shout out to my mans out there and working hard with my boy Jason Brooks, the executive director of Equity, Diversity and Inclusion over at UK. I got to link them up together, so they're gonna do some great things.
Yeah, so we out here trying to get things cracking. You got Toya with the leadership empowerment coaching, HD leadership and empowerment coaching. So we trying to live life in HD.
Be up at Western Washington University this semester. I'm really excited about that. Lock that in. A bunch of different opportunities coming. So y'all make sure if y'all need some people to talk to y'all about leadership, diversity, equity, inclusion, any of those things under that rainbow, under that umbrella, tap in with me. Right. Just go to my page right there. And let's start talking.
Right. Me myself, I do equity and inclusion training as it pertains to small government. Shout out to the city of Littleton, who we've all had the opportunity to work with. So, with that being said, we are out. Thank y'all for joining us. We will be back next Thursday. This is the Chop Up.
Thanks, bro.
Let us know. We out.